gather things. Like I kind of felt like a bit of a
Oh,
hoarder going around my house.
did you bring shit? I was just gonna talk about the shit.
You can talk about the shit. I brought the shit mostly so I wouldn't forget the shit. I mean, have so much. I'm
truly
like
fair.
So much stuff. But yeah, I'm like I was like going through my room and I was like, why is everything I own a magical totem?
No, that's why I thought this would be like a fun, no writing required kind of episode.
Yeah, I mean, look, we always need good, easier content weeks.
Absolutely.
We deserve it. I'm like this, like my wedding bouquet.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I was thinking exactly that kind of shit. Is that a raven skull?
No, it's
Oh, you were holding it sideways and all I saw was like the
no, this is something that my nana's mom, my Mimi painted for me when I was a kid. It's a lamp, and when you plug it in, it's like got little stars.
That's so cute, and it's like wizardy without having a wizard on it.
Yeah, but it does 100% have unicorns.
Oh shit, what up, unicorn?
Yeah, unicorns in a castle?
Unicorns and a castle. Okay.
I actually have two things Mimi painted, so anyway.
You know what? I am within like visual of some of the stuff I was going to talk about. So let me just go grab some things. I will literally BRB.
Okay.
Go. Cat gargoyle.
Oh, love. Cat gargoyle keeping us safe. I'm also like, how do you dust dried lavender?
The house cookie jar.
Oh, yeah. I didn't bring my creepy clown cookie jar, but he lives.
The sword.
The fuck around and find out. Yeah, because I also brought, like, for book magic, these, like, complete tales of Winnie the Pooh and the complete tales of Beatrix Potter that I got as a little girl.
Oh, love that. You know what? Let me actually get my fairy. Let me get my fairy tale book. Let me get my fairy tale book, and that'll be good. And while I was over there, lest we forget.
Hashtag never forget.
Hashtag never forget the twine.
Twine's important.
I really don't think I've purchased twine except for the one time in my life.
Okay, but Beatrix Potter is everything. Like, how about the tale of Mrs. Twiggy Winkle?
That's yeah. What?
1905. Yeah. Okay. This will be fun. I think this will be really fun.
Ooh, perf. Also, wait, should I try? Wait, let me try different lighting. Is this lighting like a little better?
Equal, honestly. I think you get a bit more glare on your glasses with this lighting.
You know what? We just
beautiful.
Wait.
Oh, okay, that's the move.
That's the one. That's the one. Here she is. No, because we're recording from the living room today.
Ooh, all the way live from the living room.
All the way live from the living room. Well, I guess let's do it. Do you want to start? Do I want to start?
I'll start. Hello and welcome to Wands and Fronds, the weekly podcast where we cover magic, herbalism, and more. I'm Shannon.
And I'm Nick. And
this is going to be a fun one.
We're your co-hosts. This is going to be a fun one. Welcome to Wands and Fronds. Gosh, so this will be coming out Saturday. So just so everyone is aware, we are recording this the night of the full moon, the 7th.
She full.
And she's also right outside my window like a stalker.
Can I just say that, like, my hottest tip for crystal jewelry witches, get yourself a cute little bowl or a little box that you store your jewelry in, because when the full moon is out, I put the whole little box on the windowsill to charge.
That's incredible. We love a hot tip. I do think it's important to note that my little now that I've done this little living room refresh, my little bowl of crystals and coins is now in the window under the moon right now. So
I love it.
Without me having to move it, which is convenient.
Hey, look, we're witches who work.
But no, so I had this idea. I feel like I probably say this every time we record around the full moon, but as everyone should know by now, I do not sleep around the full moon because I'm what they call a crazy person. Medically, that's what they call it.
That's the scientific term.
And we only use the most up-to-date scientific lingo on this podcast. So I have this idea where we're going to do a sort of totem / personal symbology episode, because I think me and Shannon both have a lot of little trinkets and things that we both sort of ascribe different sort of memories and associations to. And I think really anyone in the witchy sphere probably has a similar, I would say maybe a similar relationship with material culture. I mean, we're not sort of like monks who are like rejecting material culture. Like, we like our stuff.
We like things. And I think it's important to, like, I think the cool thing about this is like, we're not saying, oh, you need to go out and buy this thing. It's like, here are the things that we've created meaning with in our personal lives, which I think is, if you haven't done it already, kind of a cool invitation to, like, think about the things that are important to you, like the actual physical things, like, and maybe just be a little bit more conscious about it.
Oh yeah. No. So, but I thought this would be fun. And we have a lot of good stuff in the pipeline. This is like big planning week for us. So, it's a little more of a relaxed vibe. I've got the kitties. I'm here on my sofa. Roommate's working. Let's talk. I feel like also, because this is mainly like an audio experience for most of the people. Should I do a little ASMR? I don't have fingernails, so that didn't do anything.
I've got my crystals.
Oh yeah, love that little crystal
ball
ASMR. But no, so I think it's sort of like a visual Nick and Shannon mood board. Or sort of an audible Nick and Shannon mood board. I said visual. I'm, again, a crazy person, scientifically. So, without further ado, I thought a good place to start with this whole thing would be to kind of look at, like, animal friends. Because
I have one. I have a good one for animal friends. So, I am holding up right now, when Ivan died a few years ago, we got his little paw print made in clay. And it's so cute. Y'all will have to, like, you have to check out the YouTube on this one. I think it's going to be worth it. But yeah, I know you were about to talk about animals, but I was like, this is literally like right next to me.
No, it's literally it. No, this is again, it's a sort of audible mood board. We're gonna bounce back and forth a lot, I'm sure. So, I was also thinking about like that we both kind of got black cats around the same time, and it was like very much in the corner of like leaning into witchier stuff too. And I think, you know, we were both going through kind of grief at that time, and I just feel like, you know, like getting into spirituality not only helped me with that grief, but also having like a black cat, which is like a symbol of that kind of spirituality, is I mean, it's I think very apt
I do
and kind of
too. Yeah.
leans into that area of like, you know, our cats are our familiars, but they're very totemic as objects as
Yeah.
well.
No, for sure. And like, I think that cat people will appreciate this. I think personally, and I say this as someone that also has a dog, something about cats just to me feels more totemic than dogs. I don't know why. I This is my like intuition saying this. I love Willow, but she feels different than Hexus.
Yeah, I mean, I again, I love dogs. I'm sort of like a both and kind of guy because I'm
Yeah.
famously was like a reptile slash fish kid.
Yeah, everyone loves the kid with the turtle.
It's true, and I was the kid with the turtle, and I took that shit so seriously, you guys. Like, I think, you know, you're probably imagining something very different. Like, half my room was taken up by a very large, appropriately sized, because you need. I'm not even going to get into it. I think the turtle was like having basically a lake in my bedroom was very like swamp witch vibes.
Oh yeah. And you know, I do think it's funny that you had turtles growing up. Like you had a turtle and my like spirit guide that I often see when I meditate is a sea turtle.
And I do love sea turtles. I've always wanted to see a sea turtle IRL. Still have yet to do it. Supposedly, someone on a snorkeling trip I went on one time saw one. I didn't see it, but someone else did.
Sounds like a lie.
It
Um,
does. It does seem a lot like a lie. I agree. I
I
agree.
think it sounds like a lie. But on the note of cats, I have my little red clay dish that has Ivan's little paw print on it, and it looks like a little raccoon hand, which I think is funny because like cat paw prints don't look the way you think they would if they get their claws out. But I also like next to that, I got this from Witch Baby Soap. They have, I think it was Witch Baby Soap. They do these like bath bombs and some of them have stuff in the middle and I got a catnip bath bomb and in the center was a crystal cat. So
What?
how cute is
The
that?
crystal cat. Yeah.
I have a little carved crystal cat that has like cute little yellow eyes and I keep it on the shelf with Ivan's paw print.
That's yeah. That's almost too meant to be, you know.
Yeah, and they're on my altar. I have a little shelf on my crystal shelf for Ivan on my
Right.
altar.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Also, speaking of kitties, though, I did want to bring out the cat
Gargoyle
gargoyle.
cat.
Gargoyle cat has been around for a very long time, and actually, funnily enough, Oliver's original owner, Corey, left this in our shared apartment when she moved out, and I was like, I will take you. And I feel like it's like the protector of the apartment. I always like to put it in a very auspicious place.
Yeah.
And you can see I took this off of like a plant that I bought, but it had this little tassel, and he's wearing it like a tie because
He's a
um he's
gentleman.
he's a gentleman. He's got a very important job, so we honor him, we cherish him. Um,
I love that. I love little animal totems. Something else that I brought is I have this brass mouse and it's like heavy. This is like It's probably about, I don't know, like 2.5 inches tall. I'm really bad at guessing how big things are. His name is Buffalo. And I remember I got him. So my Aunt Wilma, like my aunt who was actually like my like great great aunt, was one of my favorite people when I was a kid. She was my book family member that like every time I saw her, she gave me new books. And some of the books I have were gifts from her. And when she died, they asked if I wanted anything. And my Aunt Wilma had this like collection of brass figures. And so I got the mouse. And I think subconsciously it was because she's the one who got me the complete works of Beatrix Potter. So I just always associated like little woodland creatures with my Aunt Wilma. But also, my Aunt Wilma was 100% a witch because when she died, all like 30 of the cats that lived on their property were laying on the roof over her bedroom.
Yeah.
So
So about that.
she lived like in the middle of nowhere in Granbury and had like these like cedar woods near her house and had all these cats. And yeah, I shit you not, when she was dying, the cats were all like hanging out on the roof over her room. It's bananas. But yeah, this brass mouse, usually I put him like either on a tall shelf or like a high point on my altar area because I kind of think of Buffalo the way you think of the gargoyle cat, where he's kind of like my guardian of my little space.
Yeah,
He's
no,
he's mighty.
he's got Reepicheep vibes.
Big Reepicheep vibes for sure. But this thing's like heavy. It's also like practical. I could like bash someone in the fucking skull with this thing because
Oh
it's
yeah,
big.
you probably wouldn't even put a dent in it, even.
No, no. So that's
Um,
that's Buffalo, my guardian.
so although I feel like the family connection is going to be a good segue into the cookie jar.
Yes.
Because, okay, and this is something I always have in my kitchen. I mean, I guess it sort of makes sense to have the cookie jar in the kitchen, but this cookie jar was my grandma's cookie jar. So it was at her house for my whole life, probably plus some. But it is a cookie jar, which is shaped like a cute little house with bay windows. And the roof, there's a little ASMR, little ceramic for you. The roof is actually the lid.
That's so cute. I'm
And
I love your house. And it's like it's so cute. Like it's really very cottage core.
it's very cottage core. And it was like a beloved little I remember when I was a little kid and I would be at my grandma's house a lot. My parents worked, whatever. Not all of us were born with a silver spoon in our mouth. Okay. A lot of us had to spend time at our grandparents' house. Okay. um But no, I remember, I'd be like watching her cook or whatever, and I would just like stare at the cookie jar house and I would be making up like little stories about what the little people that lived in the cookie jar house would be doing. And in that way, I could dissociate and imagine a more harmonious and enjoyable family life, right? Um, but also it's not that sad. It's not that sad. And it's not even that serious, because I always thought it would be really fun to around the holidays to make like the whole family out of gingerbread and like put them in the cookie jar house
And then eat them.
and then eat them.
I didn't bring my cookie jar upstairs, but Nick knows I have a creepy clown cookie jar that is also a family heirloom. The head is the lid. So you pull off the clown's head to get into it. And it's spooky as fuck. So it lives on top of my fridge because if it was somewhere I could like wake up from a nap and see it, I would die.
No, that would be too spook. That would be too spook. But
Yeah,
no, so I feel like the house cookie jar is kind of the unofficial marker of where I personally feel like the hearth is in my house.
I love that.
So it's usually next to the oven. Right now it's next to the oven. And you know what I will say? My grandma kept it next to the oven. And yeah, there's like soup splashes and stuff on it sometimes. But every now and then I just get a little damp cloth and wipe it down. Okay, that's where it lives.
That's its home.
That's its home. Um, and I think that's important with these kinds of like sort of power objects, right? These little totems that we keep, is that no, it's like I'm not gonna put it on some shelf.
Yeah, it's not like tucked away where you can't see it.
No, it's like literally in the spot in the kitchen where you would stand and like mix a dough or like cut your veggies or whatever. It's like it's right there.
It's in the mix.
And also when people are standing in the kitchen, that is always where I stand and like lean against the counter. That's literally like the hearth of this apartment.
Can confirm.
So can confirm. And also, you know, it's just like that is my childhood. The house cookie jar is my childhood.
Yeah, I think that's a good transition for me to talk about. So my Mimi, my Nana's mom, my great grandmother, she was I come from a long line of crafty people. So she got really into like painting ceramics at one point when I was a kid. And I always have like two pieces that I keep with me. The first is this lamp that used to like sit next to my bed when I was growing up. So it is this beautiful like moon shaped lamp, like a crescent moon, and in front of it is this like woodland beautiful forest with unicorns running through it and a castle. And when you plug it in, there's like little holes in the moon, so it looks like stars, but there's also holes like in the windows and stuff of the castle, so it looks like someone's home. And I have always loved this thing. It's one of those things where, when I was a kid, I remember being so proud of this. And I've even had to glue a piece of it back on at one point because it got broken in a move, because I have had this for my entire life. And this is on the top of my bookshelf that's like right next to my altar. So the way that my like bedroom is set up right now, one of my bookshelves is also kind of my like day-to-day shelf. So like in front of the books, it's like my jewelry and my perfume, because we just don't have like a dresser. And so that's the bookshelf that this is on. So it's like right there. I see it every day. It kind of like makes me feel magical, like, because it reminds me of, not in like a witchy way, in like like a kid way, where it's like, oh yeah, like back when having a lamp that had unicorns on it was the thing. Like that was my identity for a while. And it still works.
And it's I feel like in among the wizard collection too, like
I thought about bringing some of my wizard stuff down. I have a wizard collection. But I also like right next to that keep this butterfly that it's this like heavy duty butterfly that my Mimi did. So it's like a white butterfly just with like gold accents. It's super simple. And
but it's
sometimes
really pretty.
It is. Sometimes I hang it, sometimes it like sits on shelves. It kind of just depends. But those were both painted by my Mimi. I have my great grandmother. I have an Afghan that she crocheted. And on top of that is my Nana crocheted me a surprise Pikachu blanket. So, for me, because I also like to make things, there's something about that, like the craft lineage of coming from like other women who have made things with their hands. I think for someone that has personally like a lot of family trauma, this is a way that I do kind of engage in ancestor type work, because it's something that is like safe but does help me feel connected to the people that came before me.
And I do love that. It's like, what could be more comforting than a blanket?
Yeah. I'm like, I want to hold up surprise Pikachu. I'll show you, Nick, after this. Maybe we'll post a picture. But it's like a full-on Pikachu blanket that Nana made.
That's incredible.
I'm like, that's what I'm gonna hand down to like my great niece someday.
I do think it's I mean, it's not funny, like, haha, but I think it's funny how Nana, like, got into crochet and, like, really committed to the bit.
Oh yeah, she goes hard. Um, and just like I guess one last thing for me on my sort of like familial thing, my entire altar is set up on a cedar chest. That was my great grandmother's. So I
See, now that's the kind of shit. Yeah, like that's what I mean about like totemic objects, right?
yeah,
Like we have all this stuff in our houses, the little detritus and just bits and bobs. But I think for witches, there's definitely stuff that has like power and stuff that is just normal stuff.
yeah, it's like the things that we're talking about today are things that I would grab during a house fire.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like, get the cats out of here. Okay, we got a little more time. What else am I gonna grab? Um, to wit, the fairy tale book.
Yes, we both brought books, which I think is
Um,
great.
this was definitely part of my childhood, and I just got it back recently because it was at my grandma's house still. And it was kind of this thing where like it wasn't that she read me any of these. No, 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 no. Not her style. Okay. We're very much a TV family. But we're all big readers. And so, you know, there would be like a time after dinner where everyone would be reading whatever they were reading. And then I would bust out the fairy tale book. And but I mean, like, I think that's sort of like a red flag for being maybe going down the witchy path is that like even into my like teens and early adulthood, like I would still fucking pick this book up and just read a random one
Yeah,
and find it delightful.
I love that. I should have known I was going to be a green witch because The Complete Tales of Beatrix Potter was one of my very favorite books that I ever got. And this is great because at the beginning of each story, so like the tale of Squirrel Nutkin, for example, let's get to the beginning of this. So this story is from 1903 and it's the tale of Squirrel Nutkin, and it's all illustrated, and it's like these just like have such a close special place in my heart. But I think as far as being witches go, it's like how often do we talk about like using books of like poetry, prose in spell work, you know? And I think there's something that can be really powerful about pulling stuff. I also have The Complete Tales of Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, love that.
Yeah, I have both of these. And they're all like dirty and filthy. You can see my handwriting in the front of the Winnie the Pooh one, hopefully. Oh, like
Oh wow.
like very careful print, Shannon K. Collins. My ends have the little loops on the end. Like that's how you know I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Because youths, they used to have us put little feet on the end of letters because we were going to learn cursive one day.
Oh, oh, lordy, lordy. The 90s were such an interesting time. But
And
no,
speaking of my last book, Shel Silverstein, Where the Sidewalk Ends.
oh,
Um,
now that is an iconic.
and like it's like super old. Y'all, these books are like filthy because I've I've read them. I have them. I remember like distinctly when Shel Silverstein died when I was in second grade. I cried. But also, like, how is this shit not like horror witch to be? The Skin
Oh,
Stealer.
the Skin Stealer. No, Shel Silverstein had some dark stuff. Shel Silverstein was definitely a favorite of mine growing up too. Like, it's just so good. Like, remember when it was almost mainstream to be into poetry?
Yeah. Yeah.
What happened to that?
We all had to get jobs.
Yeah. I guess it's hard to feel poetic when you're kind of on a 9 to 5 type grind.
It doesn't feel cute.
Although I do work hard so that I can afford swords. So
Yeah, y'all didn't think we were going to go from turtles to swords on this episode, did you? But here we
no,
are.
but here we are. Yeah, this is my sword. It has a jaguar head on the handle. And it's got like, I think it's Hindi. It's made in India. It's definitely made in India, but it's got this like writing down the side that I cannot decipher it. But it's just a little sword, and it hangs above my door on a thin, thin, thin piece of twine.
Y'all, like this twine, it looks precarious, which is part of the point.
It is part of the point, and you wouldn't know it. I mean, I'm telling you because you're as a listener, you're part of the extended fam. But it's kind of like I feel like if the sword ever fell on someone, and it's in its sheath, to be fair, it's very
it's not like a poor man's guillotine waiting
no
to
no no
happen.
it's not like a sort of more gory Home Alone trap. No, but it might bonk you on the head. And if it ever does bonk someone on the head, I'm like, I can't trust you. I can't trust this person.
Nope. And I think that's very fair. I love that. Well, in my living room, I have a couple of things. So by my front door, I have sort of my entryway, and I have my prosperity bowl. It's like kind of hard to tilt this so people can see it at home, but it's like this bamboo bowl, and in the bottom of it, there's cinnamon. There's money. There are like coins, and then it's full of like pyrite and tiger's eye and quartz and jade and like actual coins. So this sits like right next to where I keep my keys and stuff. And I re-up it. I charge the like crystals in the moon. And then I also next to that have this thing that Eric and I started 2 years ago. So every Samhain, we do this like ritual where we take 3 bay leaves, and for the first one, we write like something that we want to leave behind in the year before, something that we want to cultivate, so something that we bury, and we bury that bay leaf, and then something that you want to continue to like sweeten and improve. So it's like the first one that you're trying to leave behind, you burn the bay leaf, you bury the second one, we bury it by my sycamore, and then the third one, we've been putting a bay leaf in this jar of honey for a couple of years now. And so it's like our little long-term sweetening jar spell. It's like the things that we've been wanting to grow and like invest in throughout the year. And we do it at Samhain because it's like the witch's new year.
I really and truly hope that turns into a piece of like amber.
I do too.
That some archaeologist has to decipher.
Or someone's going to like break it open and honestly have the best time because it's just like years and years worth of hopes and dreams being imbued into it. But we keep it next to the crystal like prosperity bowl. So those like stay next to the door, and it's something that we're really intentional about. Like we add fresh cinnamon and stuff. Y'all can't one and done cinnamon like in a prosperity bowl. But most importantly, in my living space, next to my dining table, I have a shelf that has like my herbs on it. It's got this beautiful candle arrangement. And so looking over the dining room table is a picture of Nicholas.
Oh, now that is a totem. That is a totem. No, I will say I'm holding up your marriage license.
No, not my marriage license. They're my vows.
They're your vows.
Yeah, because
and smoking like a Marlboro Red because I am a Marlboro Mima.
Nick is a Marlboro Mima, but this is always If it's not in my dining room, then it's in a very prominent place in my living room. And this is my way of making sure that people know that Nick is watching.
I'm definitely watching, and I will light you on fire. Furthermore, yeah. I will light you on fire. Now, speaking of doors, I did want to talk about, do you remember the spider that lived above my door for like a really long time? And she was assassinated. It was definitely a hit. Okay. Someone had it out for her because they don't just clean the cobwebs at an apartment complex.
No.
When have you ever lived in an apartment where someone came and cleaned the cobwebs? Because they certainly did not clean all of the cobwebs. It seemed like they got rid of one web. The only web in the hallway that was actually not a cobweb.
One that was in use.
It was currently occupied. So I love spooky insects. And I was happy to have the little spider live above my door. And right now I am cultivating and protecting a wasp nest because I've grown emotionally attached to the wasps that live on my patio.
I love it. I usually have a bathroom spider. There is a bathroom spider right now because we live around a lot of trees. And I'm always like protective of the spiders because if they live, that means that they're smart enough to stay up away from the cats. But there was an incident at the beginning of COVID where I had too much wine and like full on ugly cried because one of the bathroom spiders died.
No, it's really like you do. I mean, because my thing with the patio wasps, right, is that they've never stung me. So I am very grateful for that. And I definitely have given them little treats and gifts. Like leaving out the last of a drink or something for them. They love soda, they love lemonade. Because they drink like nectar out of flowers like bees and stuff do. They just don't make anything delicious out of it. And I feel like in a way I kind of identify with that. Like everyone hates wasps because they don't make honey. And it's like, well, fuck off. They still like pollinate and they like also eat other bugs and stuff too.
Yeah, and they're an important like source of food for birds and stuff. It's like, yeah, they're important. Sorry they don't make honey.
Sorry they don't make honey. And it's like, but they can fully sting you. And I think that's so iconic.
I love it. I do love it. I think wasps are great.
And I do think it goes back to, though, the time in 2019 of all years. What a weird year. I'm going to get into wasp lore just a little bit because in 2019 I had taken some mushrooms. I believe it was literally the 4th of July because we kept listening to Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus. But a wasp stung me right in the center of my forehead, like right on my third eye. And I did feel like I got like high off the wasp venom. But ever since then, I've kind of been like, wasps are misunderstood.
Yeah, they definitely didn't hypnotize you. That would be weird.
Like, wouldn't that be weird? And now I'm like feeding the wasps on my patio, and like I literally like had a serious conversation with my roommate. Like, please don't kill the wasps. Like, if they come for you, that's fine, but I don't think they will. So just like let them chill.
Live and let live.
I think that's the lesson. I think that's really like the practice of coexisting with the wasps is very like, whatever. If you just relax and you don't look at them, like nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But
don't be an asshole.
But the moment you stand up and like flail around and like,
the moment that you make yourself a fucking predator.
Yeah, it's like, no, then you kind of deserve to get stung. Chill people don't get stung. Sorry to say it.
Truth facts. Truth facts. But you know what else chill people do? They keep their wedding bouquets as a totem. Um, and I love it because I put them in a rebirth candle holder, which felt appropriate. But this is also why just like Pinterest witches, dried flowers for your wedding are awesome. But I just love that I keep this. It's obviously got a lot of like sentiment, but I'm always like trying to cultivate more love and self-love. And I feel like something about, you know, a bouquet of flowers from arguably one of the most love-centric days of my life is kind of nice. It's nice.
And I
I
do
keep it
think
around.
it's very green to go with the dry flowers too.
Oh yeah. I mean, and instead of doing like a rice toss or a birdseed toss, we did dried lavender, so it smelled great.
Yeah, and it's like you also didn't kill a bird.
Nope, not a single one.
Not a single bird was harmed.
No birds harmed in the making of my wedding.
And
But a
maybe
lot of people's livers.
and truly maybe a cow had like a very special treat the next day.
I hope so.
Because
Some
that's a
bougie
real
cow.
possibility.
Yeah, I mean, Connie and Andy have a lot of a lot of land, but yeah. So with my wedding bouquet, I keep my giant amethyst heart.
Which, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Well, this is kind of giving to like the energy there feels very Venusian. And I do just want to give a shout out to my sleeping baby cherub
Oh my
paintings,
god, the most iconic.
which I have since I think the last time I mentioned them, moved to my bedroom because I feel like as like a double fire sign with like a Mercury ruled chart too, like I am not very Venusian. Like I have a nice Venus placement, Venus and Taurus for any single dudes out there.
Me and my loud ass Venus Leo over here.
But I'm not very Venusian. So it's like, and I feel like my sexuality is very Martian.
Yeah.
But I feel like so like for me, Venus is about like self-love and like self-care. And like one of the things I do neglect to do so very often is like get enough rest. So I want to bring like the Venusian vibes to my bedroom, but not for the reason you would think, because they're like little baby cherubs sleeping on clouds. Like that's not very horny Venus energy.
No, that's like self-love, take care of yourself, Venus energy, which is very important.
And I do love them. And I definitely like look at those paintings after I get out of the shower before I go to bed. And I'm like, oh yeah, sleeping on a cloud. That sounds nice.
Delicious. Well, I think that's the end of the stuff that I had planned to talk about, and that's a lot, I guess.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking around. I do have my my ball of twine, which I did buy like a very, very, very large thing of twine at some point in the 2010s. And I have not had to buy one since then. And I have used this for like spell work and crafts. And I don't think I'll ever run out of twine because this is the good
Yeah.
shit. And now I actually save it for special occasions because I've had it for so long. But she is that girly
She's there for you.
for binding stuff, for burning, you know, because it's definitely pretty flammable. Like
Yeah.
like a fuse, you know, if you were to dip it in candle wax, that's basically a nice little fuse for something. I'm not like a bomber or anything. I just
I
like
was
to
about to
burn.
say, okay, anarchist cookbook over here.
I do just love fire though.
Yeah.
Said the fucking Aries to everyone.
Shocking.
Shocking, absolutely no one. Um, I will say, as far as like totem objects though, my teacups,
That's a good one. I do have
which
my mom's wedding tea set.
which I have a lot of like fancy china. I have a lot of like Japanese style teaware. Like the cups, I do not like to drink tea out of like a coffee mug.
That's fair.
Because I'm very much into the ritual of it. But I do have like a favorite teacup, and it is the one from Taiwan that has the little koi fish swimming in the bottom. So when you have your tea in it, it looks like there's a little koi fish swimming in the tea. So he gets a shout out in this episode too because he's an icon. He's a star.
I want to get like what I want to do is I have that beautiful teacup you got me. I can't even remember how long ago, but I finally like dropped it and cracked it because I'm clumsy. So, but I've saved it in all of the pieces because I want to get a like kunsi. I'm like, what is it? Kunsungi? What is that? Where you fill it with gold?
Oh, it's something like that. I
Kitsungi.
I actually dropped my teeny tiny little gong fu cup the other day showing it to someone.
Oh, it's kintsugi. That's what it is.
Kintsugi.
Kintsugi. So I want to get like some sort of kintsugi kit to fix my teacup with because I kept all the pieces. So that's on my like never ending to-do list of like witchy but also artsy crafty things I want to do.
See, I want to get one of those too because I dropped my little gong fu cup and it's actually the little pieces are inside of it and it's just turned around because it just has like a big chip out of it in a couple of pieces. And I think that would actually look really nice because it's a pretty plain cup, but it's like it is hand fired and it's like hand painted. And it's a really nice piece of ceramic. So,
Yeah, love.
but we are, I believe our next episode is going to be the Ostara episode.
Oh baby, you're a star. I'm excited.
So I guess we'll see you guys then. And what do we say to all of the witches with their little trinkets?
Oh my God, to all of you material girls, blessed be bitches.
Blessed be bitches.
Goodbye.
Bye now.